were just driving around one day. We do that a lot, drive around. It was kind of a drizzly day, cloudy, cold. We were just driving around and all of a sudden Randall starts yelling, "Look at that! Look at that!"
I couldn't believe it. I slammed on the brakes and grabbed my camera. The ghost, I finally saw it.
I was excited and scared at the same time. I didn't know what I was seeing. I had not seen it before. I didn't know about it, but I saw what he was looking at.
The gray ghost. I couldn't believe my eyes. I had always heard about it. I've even seen pictures of it. Finally, here it was, right in front of us. I grabbed my camera and bang, bang, bang. I glanced down at my camera for a second, looked back up, it was gone. The ghost was gone. I got back in the car, still in shock. I looked at Donna and said it was the ghost. It was the gray ghost, the closest we've ever seen one.
The gray ghost, a male northern harrier. With his gray feathers and yellow eyes, this bird can take your breath away when you see him for the first time. The adult male northern harrier is not seen as frequently as the females, thus giving him his name of the gray ghost. They hunt solo with wings that are as silent as an owl. Seeing one makes you wonder, is that a hawk or an owl? It cruises low to the ground and at a much slower pace than a hawk would. The circular pattern of stiff feathers on his face would make you think he is an owl. This intriguing creature resides in the hawk family. Northern harriers are their own special breed of hawk. Their name is derived from an Old English word, harrigan, meaning to harass or plunder. The beautiful birds hunt and live like no other bird in the hawk family. They use the feathers on their face to direct sound to their ears and hunt more by sound than by sight. One male northern harrier may mate with several females, being the only bird in the hawk family to do so. All northern harriers, adult and juveniles, have a white rump which is very visible in flight. The females are mostly brown with brown feathers on their backs and brown streaks across their breast. Juveniles, both male and female, are brown with orange bellies. As the male grows into adulthood, he becomes a beautiful bird of prey, displaying gorgeous wings of gray feathers that tip off with black, as does his tail with a black band. Females and juveniles hunt in groups. They are unmistakable, flying low to the ground with their wings in a V shape. The adult male northern harrier hunts mostly on his own. It is not often to see a couple males together. Northern harriers use grassland and vegetation to conceal their nests on the ground, where they will produce 4 to 5 eggs during each breeding season. There's a good relationship between farmers and northern harriers. They are excellent hunters of the rodent and small animal population that can plague the farmers' crops.
Getting a great shot of the gray ghost has been a goal of mine for years. I finally got some decent shots this past year, but I can do better. I know I can do better. Our pursuit of the gray ghost and his family is ongoing for us. There's nothing like being out and having one of these beauties just silently glide past you. It made me start thinking about other ghosts I've seen in the 6 years I've been photographing birds. Donna and I have been lucky this year. We've been alerted to some rare and unusual sightings.
You are looking at a white hawk, a white red-tailed hawk to be exact. How rare is that? Randall saw the alert about this hawk, so off we went to the location. We spoke by message to a few people who have seen it to get a better pinpoint on its location. We arrived at the area anxious and not really sure what to look for. It was winter time when we went looking for the white hawk. There was a fair amount of red-tailed hawks and northern harriers in that same area. We were enjoying photographing and watching these birds of prey hunt when suddenly, there it was. I turned just in time to catch this magnificent white bird flying in and landing on a telephone pole. We stayed until it was too dark to shoot watching this bird. Try as we did, we could not get very close to it. Despite that, Randall still got some great shots. We went there so many days and spent so many hours, and that bird would just get so close, and that's it. We had other hawks and harriers flying all over us and around us, but not that white one. At first we thought it might be albino, but looking closely at one of Randall's photographs, and we could see patches of gray feathers on its back and head. Also, the eye, bill, and feet appear to be of normal coloring. This determined this hawk to be a leucistic red-tailed hawk. In North America, the red-tailed hawk is the second largest buto hawk. The ferruginous hawk is the largest. Buto refers to a family of raptors, which are of medium to large build and have broad wings. Their habitat also tends to be very large. In Old World birding terms, buto referred to only buzzard-type birds, but it now refers to hawks in North America. This white hawk has a melanistic cousin called dark morph, and tend to be chocolate brown with a warmer shade of red on their tails. The rufous morph have a reddish-brown chest and a dark belly, whereas the Harlan's hawk is completely dark. They are very common in Alaska and northwest Canada. Flying with this white hawk, we saw multiple typical-looking red-tailed hawks with brown above and a pale belly with brown streaks. There are also streaks on the underside of the wing. The coloring of the tail is what gives this hawk its name. The pretty cinnamon red feathers on the tail are unmistakable. To see a normal red-tailed hawk in flight is hypnotic. With a wingspan that can reach over 50 inches, they quietly glide through the air, reaching outstanding heights. Their eyesight is incredible even from those heights. Soon as they spot their prey, they immediately go into slow, controlled dives, stretching out their legs in anticipation. While courting, hawks will fly with legs hanging down. They play games of chase and dance around each other in the sky. And like eagles, they will often lock talons and spin in the air. It is not uncommon for a pair to mate for life. Another incredible find was for Randall's eyes only.
I was out shooting at one of my favorite locations and something caught my eye. Just a glimpse. Wait, what did I see? Was that a parakeet? There's no wild parakeets around here.
It was a leucistic western kingbird. White feathers where the gray should be. That bright yellow belly just glowed in the sun. He couldn't believe his eyes.
I quickly called Donna. Quick, you've got to grab your camera and come out here now.
I told him, take some video with your camera and I'll get there later. As soon as I was available, I ran home, grabbed my video gear, and we went back out to find this beautiful bird. And we looked and looked for hours. Nothing. Never saw it again. The western kingbird, which is a little smaller than an American robin, is usually gray-headed with a yellow belly and a white chest. White feathers tip off its black tail. These flycatchers are masters of snatching food out of the air, even though they have smaller bills than other kingbirds. Once they catch their prey, they return to a perch and shake it or beat it against the perch to render it helpless. They are highly territorial, preferring valleys and lowlands. Females weave a nest in shrubs or trees. Both male and female ferociously defend that nest. They use a harsh buzzing call, snap their bills, and raise a crown of red feathers normally hidden on their heads. They can produce up to 2 broods a breeding season. Western kingbirds do migrate to Mexico and Central America during the winter. So if all these cool finds weren't enough, you are not going to believe what we found next. This is an albino mockingbird. Like leucistic birds, this bird has white feathers where dark feathers should be. However, What distinguishes this as albino is the pink eyes, pink feet, and pink bill. So what is the difference between albino and leucistic? Leucism only affects the bird's feathers and only the dark feathers. Albinism can affect all pigments and not just the feathers. Leucism, a genetic pigment mutation, only affects the dark feathers because the melanin is unable to deposit in some of the bird's feathers. The melanin, which gives some feathers their dark color, is absent, unable to be generated, and therefore the feather remains white or very pale. This can result in white patches where the bird normally doesn't have white feathers. Leucism can also cause a paler overall look of all or a majority of the bird's feathers. The melanin that is responsible for dark feathers and other dark pigmentation is completely absent in an albino bird. This condition causes a variety of issues for the albino bird. Melanin doesn't just give feathers their dark color, it also makes the feathers strong and durable. Dark pigment around and in the eye help protect the bird from UV ray damage. It is unfortunate, but most albino birds quickly develop vision problems and rarely survive to become an adult. Melanistic birds are the exact opposite. This condition can render a colorful bird to appear much darker or completely brown or black. A pied or piebald bird will have just white patches or sections of leucistic feathers in patterns. Their other feathers will have normal coloring. If the bird has mostly white feathers where there should be dark feathers, then it is considered leucistic. Now, we saved the best for last. This has been our favorite find, and it just happens to be one of our favorite birds. A burrowing owl, a leucistic burrowing owl. He should be mostly brown like his mate, but this guy is unique. We aren't sure if this owl is migratory or not. Some burrowing owls will migrate while others are content to stay in their areas year-round. This leucistic burrowing owl had been noted in this area for 4 months before we found him. He seems pretty content in his territory. We were excited to see this owl. At first he was very timid. We stayed patient, and after a while he relaxed some and didn't seem to mind us so much. We watched this guy for hours. We kept waiting and watching, and sure enough, his mate came out. Burrowing owls will eat lizards, other birds, and insects. They love insects. We watched both the male and female shoot straight up in the air after insects. Female owls eat more insects and mostly hunt during the day. We presume this is because they prefer to stay close to the burrow to protect their young during the day and night. The males will hunt more aggressively and for larger prey at night. When we arrived for our second visit, we found the leucistic burrowing owl right away. It was almost as if he remembered us and was not timid at all. His mate, however, was more elusive and seemed more unsure of us this time. We remembered the last time we were there, we saw the male bring the female food and she would immediately take it into the burrow. Had to be babies down there, just had to be babies. All day we waited and watched. We kept saying to each other, there has to be babies. We saw her take food down into the burrow. Early evening was upon us and still no babies. Our disappointment grew as we thought about having to leave and not getting to see a baby.
Baby's out, baby's out. Look back here, buddy.
Because of its size and it was covered in gray, soft, downy feathers, we determined the baby to be about 2 weeks old. At this age, the babies begin emerging from the burrow for their very first time. We were thrilled to see the little owl emerge. The male was cautious of us, but at the same time, he seemed very proud to show off his little ball of fluff. We watched him tenderly feed his young one and allow it to explore just a little bit. The female decided we'd seen enough, and she flew over to take the young one back inside the burrow. We stayed for a while longer, hoping to grab another look, but Mom and Baby were in for the night. That was evident when the male returned to the burrow with a huge grasshopper, and neither the female or the baby came out to get some. Guess he gets it all to himself. The next day, we ate a quick breakfast and headed out. Would we see the baby today? We had to hope, as we only had a few hours today to see the baby before we had to head home. As luck would have it, we did get to see the baby again, but only for a very short time. It was Mom's turn to feed him now. She was more strict and only let the baby come out for a quick little look before she ushered him back inside the burrow.
It's been a lot of fun this year chasing these ghosts. It's always a privilege to see a rare bird. Keep your eyes open and you may get to see something special of your own. Here's another look at the photographs of these ghosts and some other unusual birds we've come across.